Swedish beer. These are the pilsners I hear beer geeks mention now and then as the best in Sweden. Well, except maybe for this one, Melleruds Utmärkta Pilsner, which is a macro lager, but maybe Sweden's best macro pilsner. I do really like it, and it was actually included in my top 5 Swedish beers last year, but that's because of the price point. It's around half the price as the rest of the beers here. You can pair it with practically any type of food, and it's also always available in all Systembolaget. So I will use it as kind of a reference beer, just to see how something more normal compares to these craft beers. And then we have Remmarlöv, Skånsk lager, Nynäshamns, Pickla Pils, Helsinge Pilsner, Södermalmspilsner from Nils Oskar, Böhmisk Pilsner, Bohemian Pilsner from Närke kulturbryggeri, and Ekta Pils from OO Brewing. So let's start with Melleruds Utmärkta Pilsner, the excellent pilsner from Mellerud. It's brewed by Spendrups, one of Sweden's largest producers, and this particular can has 10 months left before the expiration date. If you want to know more about this beer's history, check out this video where I do more of a deep dive. Yeah, I wanted to start with this beer because I imagine it has the least amount of both aroma and flavors, but there is a bit of grainy character. Yeah, pretty potent pilsner malt after all. You have lemon as well and herbs. It smells really nice actually, but this is the first beer of the day and actually the first beer in 5 days. You know, as a beer geek, you want to explore new beers every day, but I really try to have 1 week or at least half a week now and then that is completely dry. I can feel it's good for the body and somehow I enjoy the beers even more afterwards. So maybe it's just, you know, the first impression of the day, but yeah, I think it smells really nice. Clean, no off flavors. Let's move on to Helsinge Pilsner from Helsinge Ångbryggeri, Helsinge Steam Brewery. And this is a beer that seems to be a favorite amongst brewers. The bottle cap, is it a goat? Almost looks like a mix between a goat and a dragon. Helsinge Steam Brewery is situated on the east coast, around 300 kilometers north of Stockholm. It's hard to see the expiration date, but it could be just 4 months left. Hopefully it will be fine. Yeah, this is so much more vivid. A herbal, almost spicy and a bit smoked aroma. Interesting, it almost goes towards licorice. And then you have some sort of white fluffy bread and lemon zest. Next, Oppigårds Pilsner. And I think I forgot to present this beer in the introduction. I'm so sorry, Oppigårds. This is one of the few craft beers that is actually available in all Systembolaget in Sweden, either in this bottle or the can. Oppigårds is, I think, the largest craft brewery in Sweden, and they often use local raw ingredients. Does it look a bit cloudy? This is much more grassy. Judging from the aroma, you get the impression this will be very bitter. Lots of lemon as well, both the meaty stuff and the zest. The malt base is more in the background, kind of like dry crackers. Södermalmspilsner from Nils Oskar Brewery is a collab with one of the best craft beer bars in Sweden, Akkurat in Stockholm. They even made a special glass for the occasion, bottle cap. This is also a beer you hear now and again people mention as the best pilsner in Sweden. The Nils Oskar Brewery is situated southwest of Stockholm in a city called Nyköping. This bottle has 5 months left to the expiration date. Here we have a more grainy aroma again, almost oaty. The classic lemon zest, also nice herbs. Yeah, I think I get digestive biscuits actually on the nose. Smells terrific. Next, Böhmisk Pilsner, which means Bohemian Pilsner, so Czech-styled Pilsner, from Närke kulturbryggeri. Can you translate that to culture brewery? I'm not sure. I guess it's supposed to imply it has a rich history, or that they are really treasuring the history, maybe. Plop. Närke is the name of the province, and the brewery is situated in the city Örebro. If you go west from Stockholm and stop in the middle of Sweden, there you have Örebro, if I remember correctly. And Örebro is jokingly the capital of Gnällbältet, the belt of whining. It's because of their dialect, their accent. Örebro. You jokingly say that they are whining all the time. Yeah, I actually had this beer the other week for the first time, and I was a bit skeptical. It's something, I don't know if it's some kind of hop or something about how it's fermented. You have a citrus freshness, but it's almost leaning into ammonia. I still really want to dig in, but maybe that's because I'm both very hungry and thirsty. Or maybe it's more like stinging nettle, actually. The expiration date is the 9th of January 2025. I hope there isn't something wrong with this particular batch. I get something grainy as well in the background. More like rye bread, maybe. But other than that, not much herbal notes. Next, Remmarlöv, or Remmarlöv in the Scanian accent, Skånsk lager. And that means Scanian lager. So Scania or Skåne is also a province in Sweden. And the cool thing about this beer is that all the ingredients, even the hops, are from Scania. Gårdsbryggeri means farm brewery, and often they produce the beer ingredients at their own farm. And this bottle has 9 months left until the expiration date. It's grainy, earthy. There is a little bit of lemon freshness there, but I also get the feeling, if you've ever been into a potato cellar, it's earthy, kind of gravel, dusty almost. Rye bread. I have a feeling this will be one of the more dry and harsh pilsners, but at the same time absolutely lovely. Next, Pickla Pils from Nynäshamns Ångbryggeri. Nynäshamn Steam Brewery. I actually don't know what that means, if that's just an historical name. There are some breweries that still call themselves steam breweries, but I'm guessing they use electricity as everyone else. Pickla is the name of an island outside of Nynäshamn, where the brewery is situated, just south of Stockholm. It smells a bit sweeter, syrup or honey? Yeah, syrup, lemon, some sort of white bread. A bit of herbal notes, but all in all, it smells pretty mild. Last but not least, Ekta Pils from OO Brewing. The spelling of Ekta almost feels like, old Swedish spelling, but I don't think it is. You never spelled this word this way. Ekta means pure and is spelt with an ä, the A with 2 dots. So the name means pure Pilsner, but the strange spelling comes from the artist behind the design, which goes under the name Ekta. OO Brewing is situated in Gothenburg, and the name comes from the first letter in the two founders' names, Olle and Olof. Pretty harsh aroma again. You get the feeling this will be dry. Also grassy, peppery, lemon, but more lemon juice than the zest. And the malt base is some sort of white bread or crackers. Wow, look at these beauties. Södermalmspilsner seems to be the darkest one, closely followed by Helsinge and Mellerud. So let's start comparing the aromas then. Actually, let's refill the first ones. I've kept the cans and the bottles in the fridge, but the actual glasses have been in room temperature. I don't want them to warm up too much. Now the Mellerud smells less fresh, more syrupy, more sweet somehow. Not the zesty herbal loveliness. But the first time I smelled it, it smelled nice. Yeah, after a while I get used to the smell and I start to think it smells nicer. But yeah, coming from the Ekta Pils, it felt more syrupy, sweet, not as pilsnery. Let's refill a little bit on the Helsinge. Grainy, almost licorice aroma. Nice herbal notes as well. Not as zesty as some of the others. Oppigårds. Grainy, grassy, little bit of lemon zest, but you can sense the bitter punch you will soon receive. Södermalmspilsner. Back to the more syrupy notes, not as much grains. I get notes of berries, strawberries maybe, which you can find in Pilsner Urquell. Yeah, honey, floral, smells lovely. The Bohemian Pilsner, Böhmisk Pilsner. Maybe both of these are in the Czech style then, or are supposed to be, because I've never felt this ammonia note in Czech beer. Or actually, lingonberry drink, if you have ever had that. Pretty common in Sweden. That actually has a similar aroma to ammonia. Yeah, I must say, to me, this is the least inviting aroma. Remmarlöv, Skånsk Pilsner. It's still earthy, but I can sense more esters now. It's actually pretty floral. It doesn't feel as harsh anymore. Just herbal, very inviting. The Pickla Pils from Nynäshamns haven't hardly been warm, I think, but let's refill them all a little bit. Yeah, syrupy again. Almost a bit like cookie dough or scones or something a bit buttery. I know you usually say brioche, but I can't remember what that tastes like. Yeah, again, the mildest of the aromas. Almost nothing of the herbal, peppery, grassy notes. And I don't think we need to refill. No, I got the ammonia. No, it's more like, what's it called? Elderflower. Yeah, elderflower. Nice. Strange how the aroma shifts. Let me refill it just to be on the safe side. It's a small can. I don't want to waste anything. Almost out. Now I've found more of the grass and pepper, but not much of the malt base, actually. But should we dig in, can you imagine the level of self-control I possess? Not even a sip so far. So let's start with the one I think will have the least amount of flavors, the lightest of them all. I could be wrong though. Melleruds Utmärkta Pilsner. Skål! It has a really nice aftertaste. It's herbal, You have the digestive biscuits, a nice, gentle lemon seed kind of bitterness. Gentle for Pilsner, that is. I actually went to a party not long ago and someone said, "Do you really like Melleruds Utmärkta Pilsner? It's so bitter." The sweet start with the syrup, I actually don't remember. But I haven't had this for a long time. I'm so thirsty, I just continue sipping. Yeah, but it is light. It's not watery, I would say. My verdict is still a very good macro Pilsner. A sip of water. And then Helsinge Pilsner. Skål! More bitterness. Very lingering aftertaste. None of the flavors are overwhelming. You have a zesty start. It dries out, but not completely. Then the bitterness kind of sips in gradually. You know, it's like the hamburger places. You have the fast food, then you have the luxury restaurants, but they add so much topping, so many ingredients just to kind of blow your mind. Then there are the best hamburger places, according to some people at least, where they really focus on the raw ingredients but keep the burgers really simple. You have the bun, you have the meat, and then just a few ingredients. And that to me is Helsinge Pilsner. It won't blow the regular drinkers' mind, but for those who really values the process and the ingredients, this is heaven. Now the second sip was much more punchy in the beginning. What happened? Lovely, grainy, oaty, herbal, and the bitterness feels higher than it actually is, I think, because it's left pretty much alone in the end. I don't know, this beer intrigues me. Water. And now Oppigårds Pilsner. Skål! Yeah, just as the nose implied, very grassy. Probably the grassiest of them all, but it disappears after a while, kind of mellows. The malt base is more white bread, crackers, or wait, I got something more grainy, oaty. I both like and dislike that I can't get all the flavors the first time. Some of them kind of appears after many sips. It's really nice. It reminds me of Bitburger. Alright, Södermalmspilsner. Skål! More of that syrupy, digestive biscuity notes, which none of these had, right? Maybe it was a little bit in Mellerud. Lower bitterness, not grassy, but a nice mild herbal blanket. I get a little bit of apple or pear. Actually, this is not far from Kronbacher Pils, I would imagine. Nice with something a bit smoother in the middle here, but I also miss the punch and the bitterness. When I tried this the first time, a couple of years ago, that was actually my first impression, dry and bitter, but in this company, one of the more sweet and smooth. Yeah, I still like it though. And now, Böhmisk Pilsner, Bohemian Pilsner from Närke kulturbryggeri. Skål! Well, that ammonia or lingonberry drink kind of goes through. However you do, you also drink with your nose, right? Also, very low bitterness, not at all what I expect from a Bohemian Pilsner. Disclaimer, I'm not an expert. And the Bohemian style is one I haven't been able to put my finger on what it actually means, but all the Czech Pilsners I've tried have had high bitterness. It has a nice aftertaste though. You have white bread, white rye bread. There is nothing about this that says macro lager, but I just feel there is something missing. It's like, oh, we only have one bag of hops when it's supposed to be two, or whatever. I have no idea how to brew beer. But it felt like, let's do it anyway. I get the malt base, but it feels like it's missing on the hop department. And I don't know where this ammonia note comes from. It's very subtle. It's not like some farmhouse ales. But I'm surprised because I've read articles by, beer journalists really praising this beer. If you love this beer, please leave a comment, especially if you have had the same batch with the expiration date of the 9th of January 2025. Let's move on to Remmarlöv Skånsk Pilsner, Scanian Pilsner. Skål! That's nice. It is a tiny bit earthy, but not at all like the aroma implied. Lemon, it's grassy, but softer grass compared to Oppigårds Pilsner. Nice white rye bread. It is pretty zesty actually. I'm surprised Swedish hops can be this spritzy. The bitterness is pretty high, but since there is a zestiness and graininess that follows along, it doesn't feel as bitter as, for instance, Oppigårds and Helsinge. Or maybe the bitterness is just lower. Sometimes I wait almost 30 seconds, and if I still enjoy the aftertaste, the beer is definitely a favorite. It's something about this farm brewery concept as well. When I felt the earthiness in the aroma, I asked you, have you ever been into a potato cellar? My grandfather had one of those. He built his own house, believe it or not. He grew potatoes, strawberries, all kinds of things, and made his own jams and sodas. So for me, also actually knowing the hops are grown in Sweden, this feels so Swedish somehow. And now Pickla Pils from Nynäshamns Ångbryggeri. Skål! Yeah, it's completely different. We're back to the syrup, more digestive biscuits. So maybe actually, if we group them like this, I think we had Melleruds, Södermalmspilsner, and Pickla Pils were more syrupy and sweet and soft. I mean, if you compare it to some other kind of lager, Helles or some kind of dry hopped lager, this is still pretty punchy, but compared to some of the other ones, it is pretty smooth and lovely. Not as smooth as Södermalmspilsner, I think. Yeah, this is the most syrupy and soft. It's almost a bit boring. I have to drink it on its own sometime again. In some ways, it's not the best thing drinking a lot of beer side by side like this. It has a nice aftertaste though. Grainy, malty. But what else in the Nynäshamn? It's herbal. That's maybe the biggest difference between these three. I think also the bitterness is highest in Pickla Pils compared to the other two in this group. Water, important. Don't forget to drink water. And then, Ekta Pils. What did it smell like? Yeah, it was the one with the elder flowers. Let's dig in. Skål. That added another dimension. I kind of got the elderflowers in the taste as well. That's really nice. Or it could be some sort of berries, blackberries. The bitterness is pretty high, but it's not intrusive as, was it Helsinge and, yeah, Oppigårds, I think. It can be lovely that the bitterness is kind of scratching you in the finish, but when you have this level of, should I say, fruitiness as well, it's like, scratch me all you want, I don't care. Is that some sort of special hop? It's elderflower in the aroma and blackberries in the flavor. And then you have nice malt base that kind of appears in the aftertaste. It's white bread going towards scones, that more buttery feeling again. And the herbal notes also along for the ride. I've had this once before, but I wasn't overwhelmed like I am now. I need to buy more of it, that's it, and try it on its own a few more times. So let's not get too excited. I'll try these through a couple of more times and come to some sort of conclusion. This was really hard. It seems like it depends on your mood, if you're having one beer or 8 beers. These 3 are in the more sweet, smooth department, and there I liked Nynäshamns the best, but none of these 3 were really the favorites. The syrup kind of bothered me a little bit. Then we have the Bohemian Pilsner in its own category here, and obviously I didn't enjoy that. Ekta Pils from OO Brewing. The more I'm drinking, the less I like it. But you saw how much I enjoyed it before. But now, you know, I've had too much beer now, and instead of being pleasant, this kind of blackberry, marmalade, overripe thing feels boozy and not as pleasant. And here we have the 3 more grassy, really bitter pilsners. I would say Oppigårds Pilsner is maybe too grassy and bitter for me. Both of these 2, Helsinge and Remmarlöv, are also a bit more zesty, which I appreciate. Let's have one last sip of them each. It's like when you're tired of everything else, this is what you want in the end. Lovely, lovely aftertaste as well. It has this a bit stabbing bitterness though, which you sometimes love and sometimes it's too much. And one last sip of Remmarlöv. It is smoother than Helsinge, lower bitterness, still a lovely aftertaste, but I don't know, maybe I want someone to scratch me a little. Helsinge one last time. I don't know, everything is connected. Right now I appreciate this stripped down feeling, clean, high bitterness, nice aftertaste. All in all, my favorite tonight is Helsinge Pilsner. Check out more Swedish beer videos in this playlist. Thank you for watching and remember, drink responsibly! But the actual glasses have been in room temperature. Temperature.